I'm happy to welcome you officially here, also on behalf of Gitanjali, with whom I've initiated this project and conceived and organized the conference, as well as on behalf of Rajiv, our host at Studio X Mumbai here. I'll be handing over to Gitanjali in a few moments, and Rajiv will be addressing us later today. It's a great pleasure to welcome you, so many colleagues here today. As you may have seen from our program booklet, we have no less than 40 participants who have traveled here from 9 cities from across 4 continents. This is far from matter of course, so dear friends, dear colleagues, thank you very much for making these long journeys here. I'm delighted to welcome you all to our conference. We have, as you've seen in the program, a very busy program, and therefore we'd like everything to go ahead according to schedule. Let me begin with a few general remarks about draft and about its structure. Gitanjali will then expand on some ideas in relation to the project and conference. Time and again, the open nature of the project, a draft itself, confronted us with a basic question: what exactly is draft about? We weren't alone in thinking this. It isn't easy to keep things in a vague status, especially when getting a project off the ground. And it isn't easy to avoid the same familiar patterns and routines which one can fall into, especially in the face of today's pressing problems that demand one's time and critical social and political commitment. Nor is it easy to keep a constellation open for possibilities and potentials we can't forecast. These eventualities also deserve our commitment, the artist's commitment. Let's be straight. Our point of departure, what is commonly called public art. What seems possible in keeping with our times is art as activism, socially engaged art, and community art. With all due respect for what these fields are achieving, how can we open up this practice and discourse without narrowing or constraining it again right away? Dedicating oneself to the grief of refugees while considering the philosophical concept of dislocation, pondering legal texts while giving expression to the sensuous experience of a sex change. We have great hopes when we discuss questions like these from the perspective of different cultures and different disciplines. What is draft about? What is art about? It is about preserving complicatedness, about bringing us into conflicts, about producing dissent. Almost all of us gathered here are artists, curators, researchers, practitioners. We have come together to exchange experiences and ideas for the next 4 days. We come from cities that, sucked into the global competition between cities, endorse the new metropolitan mainstream. Essentially, this means nothing other than neoliberal urban policies. All of us seem to be sitting in a boat called the culture of new capitalism, to borrow Richard Senna's phrase. And yet this formula doesn't quite work, because at the same time all of us are at home in other times, in our particular contexts, where we are confronted with different local conflicts, be they economic, ideological, intrastate, social, political, human. I need to list them all. As a kind of philosophical laboratory experiment, the art of modernity, our heritage, has shown how tradition and established ties are left behind through self-assertion and autonomy, through dedication to risk, instability, and surprise. Today, so it seems, it is the cities the drivers of this process, which are carrying these discontinuities and dislocations into our life. How does contemporary art as a practice or as a space of the imaginary position itself in this respect? How does art conceive or draft human behavior in the face of existence? What is art about? It is about engaging with the local in a specific way, about producing complexity, about maintaining dissent. It is a kind of conflict management. The draft project and our conference might be interested in art that engages in debates by pursuing issues like this. Draft is essentially an experimental setup internationally. Let me say a few words about how we envisage the overall project unfolding. This is maybe especially for our guests, not for the groups we know each other already. It is scheduled that to last a bit more, it lasts a bit more than 1 year. The conference will be followed by local meetings, interdisciplinary workshops, and explorations by each of the collaboratives in the 9 participant cities. Through exchange, and possibly also exchange with other local experts and laypersons, these further investigations will serve to set up and define an artistic and interdisciplinary project. Based on a project outline, these projects will be realized in the spring of 2016. We envisage a further conference for July next year, and hopefully a presentation appropriate to the work which will be developed during the course of the year. This second conference will take place during Manifesta 11 in Zurich, the European Biennial of Contemporary Art, which will be held in Zurich in summer 2016. So our conference today marks the beginning of a process. It is as such far from being a performance showcase, but instead constitutes a working situation. It features 3 blocks per day, 9 in total, which each block devoted to 1 city collaborative. Each collaborative will give 3 short talks, each lasting around 50 minutes. It's not always going this way, but in general. Half an hour then will be reserved for discussions. As a rule, each collaborative consists of an artist or an artist group, a curator or a curatorial collective, and another specialist who will stress an aspect of the city from a particular perspective. We are especially delighted that Ranjit Hoskote and Lawrence Liang have agreed to act as moderators, guiding us all through the conference. This is by no means an easy task, so thank you very much for both of you. Thank you very much. Which brings me now to our expression of thanks, and again, very short, I would like to thank Daniel Koryakovic, who agreed to act as a kind of an observer during these 3 days. Sincere thanks to our keynote speakers, P. Sainat and Reza Nagarestani. Warm thanks to go to Linda and Falguni for helping us with the organization of the conference. And we are indebted to you, Rajiv, and you too, Ashali, for according us to the opportunity to hold the conference here at the Columbia University's Studio X. Last but not least, we would like to extend many thanks to our partners, Pro Helvetia, the Swiss Art Council, and Zurich University of the Arts Connecting Space, Hong Kong, Zurich, in Hong Kong. We are also grateful to the Art Edu Foundation in Switzerland and to the IFA Institute for International Relations in Frankfurt, Germany, for supporting this project. Now I'm really excited what is going to happen during the discussions and presentations today in the next 3 days. And I would like to hand over to you, Gitanjali. Thank you very much.